It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Ducky.
Yay.
Yeah, about like that.
So I hope everybody out there is doing all right. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Well,
Deep sleep.
I don't have a lot to talk about tonight. I've been marathoning Star Wars for Star Wars month. Yeah, I kind of got stuck in watching a movie with David Spader in it. And that's the whole reason I picked it, is because, it had David Spader in it.
James Spader or David Spade?
James.
Okay, James Spader.
James Spader. Okay, all right.
Gotcha.
The Black Files guy and all
Yeah.
the 80s movie guy.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't realize when I started watching this movie, it was kind of like a 30 Shades of Grey from Temu. It was kind of like, okay, what am I watching here? But, being completely honest, I did finish it. But, yeah, kind of, it was weird. It was called Secretary. Has anyone seen that?
I have not seen it, but I've heard of it.
It's like crazy. I watched the whole thing, and I don't know what the hell happened. I mean, at the ending especially, they get to where I don't know if she's like dreaming this or if this stuff really happened, or I mean, if it was really happening, she sits down and he tells her you have to keep your hands on your feet, or you have to keep your hands on the desk and your feet on the floor, because she's trying to prove that she loves him. And it shows like all these people coming in, they're like camped outside in front of the office where she's at and everything else. It's like, she's got to be dreaming this. I hope she's dreaming this, because at one time they even had the priest come in and talk to her. So it's like, I hope you're dreaming, because if not, you just let a priest in on your sex life, weird. But yeah, it's definitely one of those. I don't think I would recommend it to anyone.
Oh.
Just because, like I said, I don't understand what the point was. If it was weird kink, I mean, okay, but I mean, I don't know. It was weird. I'm more used to him as the bully guy in all the, what was it, John Hughes films. So it was hard to see him saddling a girl like a pony. So it's kind of weird.
That's kind of vivid, but
Right. Well, that's in the trailer.
good they spared no expense.
None whatsoever. But it was just kind of like a weird, campy, weird movie. I don't know exactly what they were going for there, because although it was about like S&M, it wasn't real like kink filled. I mean, I think the most you see at one time is maybe her boobs, but so if they were going for porn, they failed. If they were going for drama, they failed, but it was somewhere in between there.
Well, and more than likely they were trying for somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably... I want to say that movie came before 50 Shades of Grey. I could be wrong.
Oh, way before. This is like an 80s movie. Let me see when that came out.
I thought it was a little later than that, but
Oh,
I could be wrong.
you're right. It was 2002.
So it beat.
I was thinking 80s. Yeah,
Just a bit outside.
just a little bit, you know.
You know, he did movies after 1989.
Yeah, but did he though?
I don't know, maybe not.
Oh,
It was
and
probably
she
all.
pissed off all the Stargate fans.
It was probably all a dream in Maggie Gyllenhaal's head. But anyway,
Well,
yeah,
I watched
Stargate.
him on, was it the Black Files or Red Files
The
or
Blacklist.
Blacklist? There you go. I think I was thinking Rockford Files. And at first I
Red
was,
Shoe Diaries.
you know, a little thrown into this one.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you're all over the place, let's see.
What else is
Well,
new?
I watched him in that, and it was interesting at first. But then the main girl wound up leaving, and so it was just him. But this whole time, people are like, is that her dad? You know, it's got to be her dad. Well, no. We find out that actually he's her mom. So it's kind of like, wait, what? We saw her mom in like previous seasons. I guess that's how he knew she was lying, is because, he was her mom, but it was kind of like the twist nobody saw coming. I don't know if it went on after that, because at that point I was done. It was like, okay, this is just, yeah. So, yeah. And that's the feeling I have with this movie, too. I'm done. But no, like I said, other than that, I've been watching, Star Wars, trying to get caught. Well, I say get caught up on that, like I've never seen Star Wars before. But once you start watching them, though, I can't watch one without watching two, and can't watch two without watching three, and yeah.
Right,
and then I'll do it again next weekend.
And then you're arguing with yourself over which ones should really come first, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what B had asked me. He says, which one are you watching? I said, I don't know if it's 2 or if it's 5 or if it's 1 and 4. I don't know.
See, that's why I just go with the titles. It's just easier. That's what they should have done in the first place, is just have titles.
Yeah, instead of chapters.
Having to put numbers on them. Like, how did anybody think that was going to go over well? I don't get it.
Right. Well, and I did notice, though, in all of them, so it's not just about tonight's movie either, they did go back when they re-edited and remastered those and changed the chapters at the beginning when it starts off.
Yeah, they added them to the titles.
Yeah.
Which is annoying.
Yeah.
It's like you don't think people can keep track of what order they're supposed to go in.
Yeah.
Because remember when Star Wars came out, it was just Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it came out again, that's when they added Episode 4, A New Hope.
Yep.
At the time, it was Episode 2, wasn't it?
No, it was just Star Wars.
No, Star Wars was the first one.
Yeah.
Right, well...
Empire's the one we're going to talk about tonight, and that was the second movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Episode 5, because let's just confuse our fan base even more.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I guess watching all of this stuff, it's kind of put Star Wars into my algorithm. And I ran across a video, and it was like, what if there was no John Williams? And which, of course, did the music and everything else for Star Wars. So they show the scene at the end of Episode 3, where they're in the, where Chewie and all them are getting their medals. And without the music, that was just...
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi, yeah. It's just so weird. It's so weird. And it kind of makes you realize what the music adds to that. Because after watching that, now I've noticed in the movies, it's like, oh, okay.
You said when they were getting the medals?
Mm-hmm.
That's A New Hope.
Is it New Hope?
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, because Chewie didn't get a medal.
I was the one that said the wrong title.
he got his medal in Rise of Skywalker. Spoiler.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, about 50 years later. Whatever.
Yeah. A little too late. But yeah, he was a big part of that.
She couldn't get it. She wouldn't be able to get it over his neck. You know.
Not as short as she is, no.
Right.
Liz, you realize you muted yourself, right?
No, I didn't. I guess I hit my mouse.
Squeak!
Or it doesn't have a tail. I guess it'd be a hamster.
Wow.
See, if you follow us on Discord, you would have
I
known
was
that.
about to say, a little bit of a Discord throwback there. Join today.
No, and the baby, of course, I think I said this last week, she finally turned 6, so
Yay.
we had the birthday party in the bounce house, finally. You know, last year it got canceled because of the wind. And this year we have a mother who's 4 weeks away from delivering a baby who was stressed about the amount of wind we were going to get on Saturday. So I kept telling her we would have heard.
They will tell you, for sure.
Yeah. That's what I told her last year. We would have known by now, you know.
Mm-hmm. It was windier on Sunday than it was Saturday. But
it was. Saturday was absolutely beautiful. We couldn't have asked for a better day.
Sweet.
And then Sunday, I wound up going to the farmer's market with my best friend. I haven't been down to the Dallas farmer's market since they redid all of that down there. I mean, I think the last time I went, it was just like a bunch of canopies and produce. You know, now they've got buildings and different sections. And so,
Cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like I said, I haven't been in quite a while. And, you know, especially beginning of the season, everything's starting to come in, and the weather was absolutely gorgeous. It wasn't too hot. There was a good breeze going. So we couldn't have picked a better day for that either.
Did you get a farmer?
No, they all had these weird tan things going on.
I mean, you said farmer's market, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised. I guess we're not too far into the season yet, because there was only maybe 3 stalls that had produce. I mean, I was looking for Easter lunch, you know. So they didn't have a lot. It's like, you know, I can go to the little Mexican store up here by my house, and man, they have like bukus of produce, and it's always good. I know people are kind of like, they don't like shopping in those little markets. I don't care. If you're going to sell me avocados for, you know, 33 cents a piece, I'm there. I don't care. I don't care if you have AC going or not. You know? But that's usually the best place to get produce. So I guess they've kind of spoiled me on that. I'm used to good produce. A lot of what I saw was just kind of like, I'm going to take that home and it's going to go bad in a day or two, you know.
Yeah, I mean, for one, the climate here is weird.
Yeah.
But 2, yeah, it's a bit early for any, like, I mean, there's not a lot of spring stuff. And even when there is, it hasn't been spring that long here. And so the spring stuff won't get good for another month.
And like the strawberries are in season, but they're not in their season yet. They've started, you know, you can pick them and they're red, but they're just not sweet.
They're not as good, yeah.
Yep, which you normally get from the heat. So I didn't want any of those. I just wound up with some green beans and potatoes, and I'll make a big pot of those.
Cool. What time should we be there?
Yeah. Right? Easter. Follow the rabbit.
Follow my nose.
I remember what happened the last time we followed the white rabbit.
I'll be serving cupcakes and cookies.
Made out of
Say
green beans and
eat.
potatoes? Yikes. I don't know if I want to come over now. Jeez.
Right. Well, and I did find some blood oranges, which I thought, oh, these are going to be so good, and they're not. So
Oh, that's a
they
bummer.
they taste like grapefruit. So
Too bloody, huh?
yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're supposed to taste like that. It's been a while since I've had one because it's not something you normally can go to your grocery store and get. But yeah. So that was kind of disappointing. But we've decided that we're going to go try the one in McKinney next weekend. So
There you go.
we shall see.
Cool. Alrighty, sounds like it's my turn then.
Yep, it's your turn.
It's
Have at it.
hot.
It's my turn.
I did it my way. Anyway, I didn't really. Okay, so I watched a documentary. I watched the final installment of the Time Warp documentary,
Oh.
the greatest cult films of all time. So Volume 3 is Comedy in Camp. So it includes, wrong one. It includes a lot of really interesting stuff. Like, for example, they talk about both Plan 9 from Outer Space and Glen or Glenda. Let's see, what else? Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. Female Trouble. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. They actually got John Cleese to come in and talk about this movie. So that's kind of a win. And very surprising. Rock and Roll High School. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Eating Raoul. Valley Girl. Surprisingly, a lot of 80s stuff. I was a little surprised by that.
That's some good movies, though.
Also, Clerks. The Room got mentioned.
Hi, Mark.
Super Troopers. I don't know if any of you have seen that.
No.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually pretty amusing.
That's the one with Jonah Hill, isn't it?
It is not.
No.
At least not that I recall. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I don't remember Jonah Hill being in it.
She's thinking about the Blob.
No, Super Troopers was the one that Reno 911 spun off of, wasn't it?
Not directly, but kind of indirectly, yes.
Yeah.
That was why the Reno 911 guys decided that it would work and tried to actually sell it to Comedy Central. But yeah, it's actually a different group of people, but I remember it being pretty funny.
Yeah.
And it just didn't do shit in the box office, but it found its audience on video.
Yeah. Like Napoleon Dynamite did.
Yeah. Which is actually another one they talked about in this. Yeah. So
I love that movie. It's kind of one of those, it's so stupid that it's good.
And that was essentially kind of what they were talking about with it. Well, Super Troopers also was it's a pretty stupid funny.
It is, yeah.
Which, when done well, can be really good, but
yeah,
especially when you're dealing with cops. The one thing I got a kick out of that movie was that Brian Cox played the superintendent, which was just so weird because he pulled off an American accent and everything. And it's Brian Cox. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in all kinds of shit. He's like the original Hannibal Lecter. And he's been in just a ton of stuff. but he's like a British guy, and he's like does this deadpan American accent because the deal is I can't believe I'm going on about Super Troopers rather than this documentary. It's a really good documentary. Check it out. But Super Troopers it's basically the story of a kind of a satellite office of like the Vermont State Police that's getting shut down because basically the local cops are running them out of business in the way that cops can do that sort of thing. And it's Brian Cox is the guy in charge of that office of the Vermont State Police, and it's a hoot.
It is a hoot.
But yeah, it's like I said, this is the third of 3 of them. The whole thing is pretty close to 6 hours long total. We get a lot more commentary from Kevin Pollak in this one because obviously they're talking about comedy. But
you said it was 6 hours long?
All 3
Okay.
parts of it are a total of 6 hours. This one's about 2 hours, maybe a few minutes longer, but not much. No.
I was going to say, you watched a movie that was 6 hours long.
It's not like I haven't done it before. I mean, the extended cut of Return of the King was like 5.5.
Yeah. I've marathoned those a few times.
Uh-huh. We did that on a New Year's Day once. And it took all fucking day, let me tell you.
Yeah, it does.
Time you take a piss break between, man. Whew.
Well, and they screw you up when they put it on TV because then you start watching it and a commercial comes on. It's like, you know what? I can watch this on streaming with no commercials. But why am I going to start here? I need to go back to the beginning.
Right. What, you're going to do it from the beginning without the commercials. And
Yeah.
then the next thing you know, it's the next morning.
Yeah. But I didn't know that HBO has all the extended cuts. So when I was watching it, it's like, wow, this is kind of long. This is really kind of long.
I don't remember this part.
Right?
Yeah, that's because the last 20 minutes got spliced in after the fact.
Yeah.
And
And I
they did
think
that
the
multiple times.
Christopher Lee scene was cut out of the first one, wasn't it? So I saw that and I was like, wait, what?
Oh, yeah, there might have been a little bit at the end of that with him because because Gandalf went there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right.
That's where, what was that guy's name? Snod. The snot guy threw him off the top of the thing.
Saruman.
Yeah. No. Well.
Well, he jumped.
The guy. He kind of backstabbed him.
It's a guy.
Yeah.
The
He
guy that was
ran
in that
from-
thing.
He ran
That's
from
like-
one kingdom to go warn him, and when they got there, he was on top of the building.
Oh,
with them.
that's okay. You're talking
What is his name?
about Denethor?
No, it's something like Snodgarden or Snodgotten or what the hell is his name?
Not a clue.
Snosberry.
I know if you don't know, I have it completely wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, because there were only 2 people in the tower when basically Saruman kidnapped Gandalf.
I think this was after when the Ent showed up. Gandalf was gone at that point, wasn't he?
That was when he came back in dramatic fashion, but yeah.
Yeah. Now see, I'm going to have to go back and
Now
watch
you're
it.
going to have to watch it again, right, of course.
But he was the one who had the king, like, all crazy and stuff.
Oh,
So
you're
what-
talking about Rohan. Okay. Grima Wormtongue.
Yeah, him.
Totally Snosberry.
Well,
He was a total
whenever,
Snosberry, but yeah.
whenever they freed the king from under his control, he ran back to
He did.
Summeron. Wasn't he on top of the building
ran
with
back-
him?
2 different scenes.
Oh.
That was later.
Right.
Was
After he ran. back to him.
Yes, Saruman had kidnapped Gandalf well before that.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been like end of Fellowship, beginning of Two Towers.
Yeah.
Because the reference of the title The Two Towers is, oh shit, what's the name of the tower? It was Minas Morgul and Orthanc. Orthanc was where Saruman lived.
Okay.
Minas Morgul was where Sauron was holed up. I think I have that right. I could be remembering the name of the city wrong, but that's what that always meant.
Yeah. Tongue guide.
Anyway,
I knew it was something weird.
Yeah.
Worm tongue, snot, same thing. Slimy.
Tongue, snot, they're fairly close together, and anatomically speaking. We'll go with it. It's fine.
We'll go with it.
Now that we've lost Tom and Les, as we usually do when we talk about the Lord of the Rings.
I don't even know how we got there.
I'm not sure either, really.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tom and Les can tell you.
Oh, were they taking notes this time?
Oh, marathons. That's what we were talking about.
Marathons, long
Yeah.
movies, right. Long movies.
Yep.
I was talking about this monstrously long documentary that talks about a whole bunch of really fun movies, many of which I've never seen, but are still important nonetheless.
Right. Yep.
Showgirls was the other big one that they talked about. I don't remember if I said that. Showgirls and Office Space.
Okay, Office Space I can understand.
Yeah.
Now, wasn't Showgirls with the girl from Saved by the Bell?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
What, Elizabeth Banks? Is that the name?
I think
Elizabeth
that's
Berkley.
Berkeley. Yeah.
Right.
Elizabeth Banks was a little later.
Okay.
But yeah, they're really fun documentaries. They're on Tubi. If you're into movies at all, and if you're into interviews with people talking about the movies they were in or made, this is totally for you. If you're a movie nerd, basically, this is totally for you.
That does sound pretty cool. You've mentioned some really good movies in these 3 different ones, so I may definitely have to watch that one. Or 3.
It's fun. And I actually appreciate things like this because, and I use this excuse for like podcasts and YouTube channels and shit too. They talk about movies that I'm probably never really going to watch. So I get to learn stuff about these movies, some of which are important and some of them are not, and that's fine too. But I get to learn about movies more than just by watching them. Because I know people who watch like multiple movies a day, every day. And I'm never going to be that guy, you know?
Yeah.
I just can't sit there that long. I could sit there doing other stuff that long, but I can't sit through a whole movie and then like start another movie. My brain just doesn't let me do that. So this is a way that I get to experience those movies to some extent through other people's eyes and opinions, and I actually kind of think that's fun.
Yeah.
So.
See, I watch a lot of movies and stuff, but unless it's something I'm like really, really into, it's background noise.
Right, you're not paying attention.
Right.
That's fine. A lot of people do that.
I'm kind of tuned in, but I'm not.
You're tuned in while it's super interesting, and if it ever at any point stops being super interesting, you're probably going to tune out.
Yeah. Which is why I usually stick with the ones that I'm familiar with.
Right.
But honestly, most of the time it's SpongeBob. No matter what's playing, I can look at the screen and know exactly what's happening, what's going to happen.
And that probably says something about you too, but
yeah,
you know.
But it doesn't take anything to watch it.
Sure.
You know, so it's usually on because it's not going to take me away from whatever I'm doing. You know.
Right, and I actually kind of get where you're coming from with that because my kid started watching them honestly not that long ago, like less than a year ago, and So he would sit there and, well, I mean, he was like watching one a night, and he'd just flip it on because he has the time where he's got the TV and he pulls something up to watch. And at that, for a little while there, it was SpongeBob, and so it would be on, and I wasn't paying attention to it, but I mean, I could look up and quickly figure out where the story was going and all of that stuff. It's a kid's show. It's not really all that complicated.
But they put enough into it where adults can find it funny too.
Sure.
You know, the little over the head jokes.
It was it was fairly entertaining when I did pay attention to it. I just didn't do much. And it was fine. Yeah, because of that, I can kind of see where you can be entertained by just having it in the background.
Yeah, easy watch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because that's probably the show I watch the most of, but it's not my favorite. It's just on TV all the time.
Well, there's that too.
I think one channel, that's all they play. So going to sleep at night too, I can go to sleep with it on because I'm not sitting there trying to watch it and figure out what's going on and overstimulate my brain. And
I'm sure Phil loves that too.
Yeah, he's learned to. He does not like cartoons at all.
I believe they call that Stockholm syndrome, but anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay. Les?
How can I ever overcome this stuff?
It's a challenge.
About the only thing I was noting worth watching was a movie called Support the Girls. Support the Girls is a movie about waitresses at a sports bar. There wasn't all that much to the movie by my liking, but it was listed as a comedy. And I want somebody to watch this and let me know where the comedy was in this movie.
Right.
Because I watched it for an hour and a half, and I didn't crack a smile. It was awful. I do like awful movies.
Yeah.
But I want movies that I can make fun of. This one you can't make fun of because there was nothing funny to make fun of.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, in terms of bad movies, Les has finally met his match.
Right.
There are a few of those that I have come across, and Lord. So if you folks get a chance, somebody let me know where the humor was in this movie. And it looks like it was filmed in either, I don't know, maybe Dallas or Houston. Because they did talk a lot about Texas and some various...
Yeehaw.
Yeah. So that was it for me.
Cool.
It's funny, I Google it and it says drama.
Ah.
There's a poster that it has a picture of that does say a big-hearted comedy, but this thing, Google calls it a drama.
Well, it was closer to a drama, believe me.
I mean, other than the obvious double meaning in the title, I'm not sure I would have cared about
My
this.
mind went right to a bra.
Uh-huh.
And he said sports bar, and it was like, sports bra?
Wow.
Support them girls.
Well, that's not what it was about. So
He was wishing.
I mean, if it's about a restaurant, then who knows, right?
a restaurant?
Have you not ever
Yes.
heard that term?
Yes, I have, but can't believe you use that term. Shame on you, young man.
Why the hell am I being shamed?
Oh.
Good comeback. I like that. Good answer. Good answer.
That was
Probably because I didn't say anything.
That was an awful lot of communication happening in a monosyllabic grunt. I'm just going to say.
Gesundheit.
As a word person, I can appreciate the as a word person and the parent of a teenage boy, I can appreciate the monosyllabic grunt.
I don't know. Okay, I guess it's my turn, huh?
Sure.
I wanted to bring up a video I saw on YouTube to everybody's attention. And guys, why don't y'all just grab a little piece of paper and a pen and kind of keep track of this. It's from a channel called Retro Vault.
Uh-huh.
And the video was called The Funniest Movies You've Never Seen.
Okay.
Okay, and for the record, I've seen 7 of these. 7 of the 13.
Okay, 13. That's gotcha.
There's 13,
All right,
yes.
let's see. So we'll count how many of them we've seen.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay. Starting at number 13.
Number 13.
Please Don't Eat My Mother.
No, I don't think I've seen that one.
Which is basically kind of a ripoff of Little Shop of Horrors. A peeping Tom comes across a man-eating plant and starts bringing women home to feed the plant.
All right.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. At 12, Prison A Go-Go. Listed as Zombies, Kung Fu, and Go-Go Girls.
That would be a no-no.
Sorry, I've seen that one.
Okay.
I think we should be sorry for you in that case, though, right?
Not really. It was dumb as hell.
Okay, the next one we all know we've seen. Student Bodies.
Oh, totally.
Coming in at number 10, The Lost Skeleton of Cadabra.
Yay!
I think I've seen that.
It's been forever since I've seen it, but yeah.
That was featured, remember?
Mm-hmm. Okay, at number 9, Lobster Man from Mars.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think Les is going to win this contest.
Yeah.
I kind of knew, but I figured he would get to have all 13, but you know.
I'm at 1.
Okay. Number 8, Hardware Wars.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that. I think.
Probably the best parody of Star Wars out there. And it came out right after the movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think I have seen that one. The little cookie monster looks familiar.
yeah. Yeah, that's the Chewbacca. Mm-hmm. Coming in at number 7, Young Frankenstein. I kind of questioned this, but okay. It's not my list.
We just talked about that last week.
We talk about Young Frankenstein all the time.
All the time.
It's like a favorite of ours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Number 6, Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about that in the documentary I just watched.
Yeah, I thought about that when you mentioned it. At number 5, I know 3 of the 4 of us have seen it. Amazon Women on the Moon.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, but that's the one y'all keep telling me to watch.
We have recommended it
Yes.
to you as a slightly toned down Kentucky Fried movie.
Yeah.
Only slightly, but coming
Coming in at number 4, Transylvania 5000.
Okay. With
Jeff
was it
Goldblum and Ed Begley Jr.
Ed Begley Jr. Yeah.
At number 3, I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker.
Oh, yeah. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I have not seen that one.
Really?
No,
Wow. How the hell have I seen that and you haven't?
I don't know. I
Interesting.
should,
It's
because I
fun.
like just about everybody on there,
Yeah.
in there. Number 2, Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And the funniest movie you've never seen, the Kentucky Fried Movie.
I've seen part of it.
Oh. Wow, you said you've only seen 7 of these?
Yes.
I'm at 8.
Wow. Well, I mean, I haven't seen Please Don't Eat My Mother or Prison a Go-Go, Lobster Man from Mars, Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, Transylvania 5000, and I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker.
Okay, yeah. So I have seen I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, and I've not seen any of the rest of those. So yeah.
So we're pretty much the same except for Sucker.
Yeah.
You've seen Sucker.
Wonder if
Okay.
you showed me that then. Dang.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
I'll never remember. It was years ago. But
Bill, maybe?
no, not his kind of movie.
Okay. All right. How'd you do, Liz?
I only saw like 2 or 3 of those.
You can count Kentucky Fried Movie. It's okay. You may not want
And
to.
I've
but
seen
you
maybe
can.
3 or 4 of them.
And Les?
2.
2 that he hasn't seen.
Yeah.
No, just too many.
Oh man.
I like the list.
It's a pretty good list. Although, reading the comments, I mean, there's ones that people complain about not being on the list, like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and
Yeah.
Killer Clowns from Space and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, fair. But hey, this is his list.
Right.
Yeah.
Put together your own list.
Right.
I was like, I thought it was a pretty strong list.
Seems like, yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I watched it and said, I got to bring this to the table. So,
Mm-hmm.
okay, on that note, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll get into this week's discussion. Welcome back. We are continuing our Star Wars month. Hopefully you enjoyed last week's episode in our discussion. I don't expect this one to be as long. But who knows? It may be. We'll see.
Depends on how
I
far
can
off we
sympathize
wander.
with the Dark Lord again, you know.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I am a man of taste. Man of wealth and taste.
Woo!
Sorry.
Woo, woo. You gotta add the woo woo.
I can't add the woo woo.
Okay.
No, you really don't have to.
You woo woo woo.
Well, I'm pleased to meet you.
Hope you guessed my name.
Woo woo.
And we'll be right back after these words.
And we're off track already.
Oh,
We haven't even
man.
started.
Right.
We are celebrating the 45th anniversary of the release of Empire Strikes Back, the second Star Wars film released, and this was 1980. So, all right, let's get into it.
The first one I saw in the theater.
Dun, dun, dun.
I couldn't remember today if this was the first one I saw or if episode 3 was the first one I saw.
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
But you're going to confuse yourself and everybody else if you don't just use the titles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially our younger crowd. Sorry about that.
But Revenge of the Sith was your first movie? Okay.
Seems unlikely, doesn't it?
One of my best childhood memories was watching this at the drive-in. And I'd have to say that Empire Strikes Back is probably my favorite Star Wars movie. For me, it was the best one they made. It kind of, really set the path for our heroes, and
Right, it introduced a plot.
Yeah.
Other than
Still
blow up
leaning
the
into
Death Star.
kissing the sister thing, but we'll
Well,
get rid of that on the next episode.
We had to got to work our way away from that, you know.
But yeah, this is also where we find out that Vader was Luke's dad.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
For a 45-year-old movie.
But I don't think that he's found. I guess the next one is when he finds out that Leia is his sister.
Spoiler. In Return of the Jedi, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's when it first gets mentioned, anyway.
Yeah. And this was also our first appearance of Yoda.
Yeah. The first appearance of Lando Calrissian, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
2 more different characters you cannot find in the Star Wars universe.
Right. And this is also where we see Boba Fett, right?
It's not his first appearance, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because his first appearance was in the holiday special.
Ah.
Ah.
Oh, that's right. He wasn't in there.
We like to forget the holiday special.
I think George Lucas would like for us to forget the holiday special, but too bad. That's a good reason to keep it alive as far as I'm concerned.
There is a reason why there is no official copy of that on VHS or DVD or
Anywhere,
Blu-ray,
really,
whatever.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You gotta buy the bootleg.
Yep. Or watch it on YouTube because it's there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I agree with you. Empire's my favorite. With New Hope just right there behind it.
Yep.
You talk about the memories of seeing it. I've mentioned this to you guys before. This is May 1980. 1980 North Texas was the hottest summer on record. I believe it's still the number one. We've had a couple summers get up there pretty close, but I don't think anything surpassed 1980.
Yeah, the June or July, that was July. So the 20th, I remember it was the 26th and the 27th. I think it was July. Yeah, the temperature measured 113, which is the hottest temperature ever recorded in this area.
Right.
To this day.
Yeah.
We hit 111 one day a few years ago.
But in terms of the entire summer, because it's like we had, I don't know how many days in a row, it was just over 100.
Yeah, 2 months.
It was just,
basically.
Yeah,
it was
at
2 months.
At least.
It just never stopped being hot. Yeah. That was the summer that we moved here.
Woohoo! Hey, welcome to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the family went to go see it opening night, and we actually took the neighbors' kids. Next door neighbors' kids went with us, and we were in line around the theater, and like I said, it was that summer. And oh my God, when you got into that theater, you felt that air conditioning, and then for the next 20 or 30 minutes, we're on an ice planet. Like, It's like, yeah, it's like, okay, this works out. Whew.
Okay, I have a question for Liz.
Mhm.
Liz, you went to see this at the drive-in?
Mhm.
How
We
old
did.
were you?
I was 5 or 6. That's why I'm thinking it was this one that I saw. Because the next one coming out, I would have been 8.
Yeah, because it was 3 years later.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
83.
It was 83. So I saw this when I was 5.
Okay.
But when they did it at the drive-in, it was always double feature. So we also got to watch the first one with the second one. And then I'm wanting to say, when the last one came out, they actually played all 3 movies. I could be wrong on that. It's been a few years, but
I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
yeah.
The reason I asked was, I asked for your age also, was because when it came out and was at the theater or at the drive-in, who the hell took time to watch it?
Right.
Someone
Well,
who's
there
not
was-
making out, like a 5-year-old, you know.
Right. Now, I couldn't tell you what my mom and dad were doing, but us poor girls were glued to this.
Yeah, this, like I said, this is the first one I saw in the theater. This is the first one I saw. So I didn't really understand it. I didn't see New Hope until like 10 years later. Because, not surprisingly, I didn't care that much about a movie I didn't understand when I was
Yeah.
9.
Well, I'm wanting to say I saw one of them, I guess maybe on TV, because I like I said, I don't know. It's been a few years, but I'm kind of wanting to say that I went in there with an understanding of what was going on, but that could have been because of my dad too, because he was a nerd.
Well, it could have been worse, Mike. Could have been taken in to see Highlander 2 without seeing.
You are not wrong, sir. You are not wrong. That would have been a lot worse.
It was a lot worse.
Oh. I saw Highlander 2 after having seen Highlander, and it was still pretty bad. So there you are. I mean, you don't get a more pat ending than the first Highlander movie. I mean, that shit's over. I'm sorry, it's over. It's done. It is wrapped up like with a neat little bow on top. Why anybody thought a sequel was a good idea? It's not like it made a shitload of money to begin with. Why anybody? God, I'm going off on a tangent now. But yeah,
We don't do that.
Yeah, we don't do
that never happens.
It's my fault.
But yeah, so my appreciation for this movie came for Empire, not Highlander 2. Empire came much later when I finally decided, okay, pretty much all of my friends love this stuff. I probably need to figure it out. Watching the first movie helped.
Yep, I can see that.
Yeah.
Watching them all together helped a lot.
Les?
When this one came out, it was after a book we'll be discussing later and had come out, and I was hoping that that would be the basis of the second Star Wars movie. I was enthralled with the first movie. I thought it was so near perfect that it was able to stand on its own. And that's what Lucas wanted. He wanted that because then he could see whether or not he could do a third movie. And yes, he was able to because this one took box office and at that time set it on its ear. So I was very involved, very happy to see this happen. I certainly was hoping that it would go to Lucas's idea that there would be a new movie every 3 years, because he was planning to do 9 movies originally. Come in. And this kind of set it up so it was all right. Yeah, his plans, everybody's plans changed. But this one stood out on its own. To me, it was a bridging, and yes, actually the first mention of Leia being another Jedi, although it did not specifically say, but Yoda said there is one other. So that gave us the idea that there's another Jedi loose out there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the few questions that came out of the movie was, what is this other hope that Yoda is referring to?
Yeah.
And obviously, what happens to Han and what and if what Vader revealed, if that was true or not, several questions out of this one.
Yeah.
In fact, Band-Aids came out with special Star Wars Band-Aids. And in the Star Wars packages were questions like, who is the other Jedi? Is Luke the last Jedi? And some other stuff. And yeah, I had these. Because at that time I was truly wrapped up with it. Thought it was so fascinating. I thought it was fun that they could actually market stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was taken in for sure. Once again, as I said previously, Lucas proved he can't do a love scene worth shit. So,
well, this was a little bit better since he didn't actually write the script and he didn't direct the scene, so there's that.
Yeah, they did have a very good director in this one.
Some pretty good writers, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I said, they managed to introduce a plot into this. A storyline.
A plot?
Weird, right?
Mm.
Weird.
Who'd have thunk it?
Can't just save the world. The plot can't just be save the world. That's boring. I mean, okay, I take that back. It can be really exciting if you do it exactly right, which they did with the first one. But to just do that again, people get tired of that.
Yeah.
Doesn't give you much room.
Right.
Yeah, it is a new story. It's a continuation. It's not, hey, let's take what's successful last time and just do it again because that's what people want.
Like they did with parts 5, 6, and 7.
7, 8, and 9.
7, 8, 9. Thank you.
Well, they definitely did it with 7.
Yeah. 2. Not particularly good reviews.
No. But we'll get into that here down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about some of these questions. What did you think Yoda meant by the other hope? What did you think about that back then?
The whole "there's another."
Yeah, there is another, right?
I took it hook, line, and sinker. I was just thinking to myself, yeah, there's got to be something. So that's where I put my hat.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, we had no idea. We had no way of knowing.
Right.
But it was weird. But the part of that was weird was who he was saying that to.
Yeah.
I mean, he's saying it to Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because especially after seeing the prequels, you go, Obi-Wan knew there's another kid.
He literally watched them being born.
He watched them being born, and he
And Yoda should have known that he knew. But anyway, in going down that road, we're just rehashing what we were harping about last week. So that's not beneficial.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of a plot device, that's a teaser. That's a hell of a teaser.
Uh-huh.
And if he teased that there was another one, and he knew at that point that he was going, it was Leia, why did he have her kiss him then?
Nobody had anybody kiss anybody. What are you talking about?
Well, when she kissed Luke again.
Okay.
So if he knew that they were going to be brothers and sisters, why didn't he just leave that out? We didn't need that.
He did.
Right?
Actually, he did not know that.
So who were they
He
hinting
made
at?
that up later.
He made that decision writing Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
That Leia was going to be Luke's sister.
And if it makes you feel any better, which it won't, it will creep you the fuck
It
out.
won't. Right.
But George Lucas was the guy when he and Spielberg were working on the Indiana Jones series. He was the one who suggested, Lucas was the one who suggested that Indy and Marion had a relationship before.
Yeah, right.
When Marion was like 12.
Oh, man.
So Lucas was not above throwing pervy shit into his movies.
Yeah.
I don't have any actual evidence that this is true, but I have certainly heard it more than once as a rumor.
Yeah. I'd believe it. I mean,
I think we have no reason not to believe it at
Right.
this point. Because here we are talking about brothers and sisters kissing in movies.
yeah. And last one was how young Anakin was, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And Padme.
Yeah. She may not have been that much older, but at that point it was optics.
Well, and they weren't even actually fooling around or anything at that point either. But
yeah.
Because the comment was made, again, we're going back to last week, that Padme still thought of Anakin as a little boy.
Yeah.
Preferably when she's sliding her hand down the front of his shorts.
Well, there went the rating.
Man, I got up on the
tried,
rating
Steve.
5 years ago. What are you talking about?
Oh.
So yeah, that's the deal.
But I think that to take it off the incest stuff,
Mhm.
I think for them not to know that they were brother and sister at that point, for her to be able to hear him when he called to her still. I think that should have kind of clued them in that there was a connection between the two of them, you know. It wasn't just a friendship thing. There was a stronger connection there between them, which of course later on we know was the Force, but, you know.
Well, I
But
mean,
we had no reason to believe that Leia had any contact with the Force at this point.
Right.
So yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Could just be the symbolic coupling of twins.
Yeah. Well, that's also what I was about to say. They say that twins share those kind of things, you know, feelings and that kind of thing. So it would either hint that they were brother and sister or that they were connected by the
Through
Force.
some other means,
I
right?
just,
Yeah.
I just assumed that she had some Force abilities. She just didn't know them because she was not around. She was not around.
She wasn't around a Jedi, or
Right.
Yeah.
she wasn't being watched over by a Jedi.
And her abilities are not her special talents are not the same as Luke's, where Luke's is more the piloting and all that. Obviously, hers is more
Commanding and
Hers are more social.
social. Yeah,
His are physical, and hers are social.
yeah. So
See,
Which would make her a good diplomat, or could make her a good diplomat.
that was just the way I kind of figured
See,
it
I
out.
kind of saw her as a diplomat because she was a princess. That she was kind of used to taking that lead role. And, you know, if she's a princess, she has to be groomed for duties of a queen later on, you know.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Which
how
I guess
to
that
deal
never
with,
happened, did it?
like how to deal with Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say beheading and burning, but you know, whatever.
Ooh, that sounds like an idea.
Sounds like a good Monday night.
You don't want him to get back up. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We don't need 4 zombies running around.
Okay, did you believe Vader when he said he was Luke's father?
I did.
I didn't have any reason not to.
Right. I was about to say, but then I watched this when I was younger, so
Right.
I was still taking everything and what people said at face value.
You still believe everything we tell you, Liz. Come on.
Right?
Didn't mean to talk to you about that. Anyway.
Originally, I had doubts.
A lot of people did.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been a good psych you out kind of thing, you know.
Mm-hmm. It could have. It could have been a ploy.
You know? Because at that point, I mean, it was kind of like, wait, what? You know, there was no hints towards that or anything. All we knew is that they really needed to get him on their side. So I could see that as being a ploy tactic, you know. Especially if they knew anything about the way he was raised, you know. A sense of yearning and wanting to belong and have a family. Well, hey, I'm your daddy.
Who's your daddy?
Who's your daddy? Nita's your daddy. That would have been a cruel mind trick, though. Completely mind screw, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Which it still kind of did, you know?
Yeah, it threw him off for a while.
Yeah, he was ready to die. Throw myself off this balcony thing or whatever the hell that was, you know?
He was ready to die, then actually join Vader and go to the dark side and rule the galaxy.
Yeah.
As part of the Empire. He didn't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised how quick Ben and Yoda were ready just to, well, they can die. You've got training. They can die because in the end you'll win, but they have to die, you know. Was that their way of seeing which side he would choose, or did they really be like, I don't care, they can die, you know. We have you here. And now go lift some rocks.
I think that was as much a teacher's concern for their student as anything else. I mean, we're not done here was basically what they were saying.
Yeah.
You're not ready. And so Luke taking off was kind of his way of saying, well, let's find out how ready I am. I don't have time to get any more ready than this. This is pressing now.
Because I can't let them die.
Yeah, I can't wait any longer. And also, he's I mean, if we look back to the prequels, he's his daddy's boy in that he feels very strongly.
Yeah.
Whether he's supposed to or not.
Do things his way.
Well, and just these are my friends, and I'm going to protect them.
Right.
I mean, the concept of friendship is supposed to not be a Jedi thing, but it is with Luke, and Luke is the one who kind of got it right. Mainly, it didn't hurt that he had basically badasses for friends,
right?
Who could take care of themselves pretty well, but still.
Pull his ass out quite a few times.
Yeah, they saved him as much as he saved them.
Yep.
For sure.
See, and I think that was his deciding factor, too. They could have let me die, but they didn't, you know?
Right. I mean, the deal is we make a good team.
Yep.
And sometimes that's what it takes. The whole Jedi thing from before was, it was the whole Texas Rangers concept. One Ranger, one problem, one Ranger. Jedi didn't work together much. They worked together basically just long enough to train the next one.
Which is kind of crazy, though, because isn't the Force all about harmony and nature working together? And, you know, It seems like they would value a friendship that would be harmony and working together, and the same thing the Force is.
Wouldn't you?
You know?
But apparently that was one of the things they lost in the centuries.
They saw it as a weakness?
They didn't, I don't know about a weakness, but certainly not part of the way it should be.
Yeah. Well, in a way, if you think about it, it was a weakness. It's a good weakness to have, but
it's a weakness that can pay off anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole part. That's the whole thing about a team is it's everybody pulling their weight.
Yeah. But to get to him, they knew they could get his friends because that mattered to him.
Right.
So that would be a weak spot.
And it was Vader that orchestrated that.
Mm-hmm. So does Vader at this point know that Leia's his daughter?
No.
It didn't seem that way, no.
Does he ever say how he found out that Luke was his son, or?
I mean, other than the name? Because that was a pretty boneheaded thing to do, we'll just stick him with his aunt and uncle, who, I mean, while sure they're adopted and all, but
yeah, keep
his
dad's name. Yeah.
Right, that was dumb.
Yeah,
that is the worst witness protection program ever.
So Leia didn't keep her name?
No.
What was her name?
Organa.
Organa?
Yeah, the senator that took her as an infant was Bail Organa.
Yeah. Jimmy Smits.
Yep.
And what was all this in?
That was in episode 3. That was the one we talked about last week.
Okay.
We didn't actually mention that part.
I was I never knew who. I mean, of course we knew who took Luke, but I was always kind of confused on who took Leia.
It's a very short scene at the end of episode 3.
Yeah.
Of Revenge of the Sith. It's right. Yeah. I mean, the kids are born. Padme dies. They split Obi-Wan and Organa split the spoils, and they go off on their own, never to meet again.
Until...
And I guess they never told the kids about each other because that would be...
Never any need to. They're
Right.
half
Yeah.
a galaxy apart.
Right. Well, and at that point, Vader would have been looking for 2 kids. You know, you didn't want them to find each other because then he would know these are my 2 because, you know.
All right, he's at least looking for one.
Yeah. Oh, because he didn't know there was 2.
Right.
Right, he was
Okay.
looking for his son. Why that was the case, I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, he didn't seem to realize there were twins.
Yeah.
How Padme never mentioned that blows my mind a little bit, but you know, whatever.
Well, he didn't really give her a chance. Before
Right,
he choked her out.
and he
you know.
wasn't there because he was hiding
Doing
his
kids.
marriage. Well, that too, but he was hiding his marriage, so he was not with her all the time.
Yeah.
Well, and he was fighting a war, too.
Right.
But he does fight. Yeah. Okay. I'm answering myself here in my head.
That's fine.
You're welcome to join me.
Yeah, share, but do it out loud, please. Audio podcast and all, you know.
Only I can hear the voices. Okay.
Red rum.
I got to see. The deal is I got to convince my kid of that concept. So, okay, you're the only one who can hear yourself in your head. You have to respond to yourself in your head so that the rest of us can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll just roll his eyes at me again and go back to his phone. But anyway. He's a good kid.
All in all, I would definitely 2 thumbs up on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Must watch.
Yep. It's actually well written. There's actually a nice balance of action and not action. I'm not sure what the word I'm looking for there is. They do a good job of, unlike A New Hope, this movie actually slows down at times, which is a good thing because A New Hope is great because it's all action all the time. That's what makes it such a fun movie. This one, like I said, they decided to have a story, so they had to slow down a little bit. There's action in it, but there's also a lot of quietly sneaking around a little bit and a little bit of travel time and from time to time and people talking occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a different kind of movie. It's a differently paced movie. It's a nice connector between New Hope and Return of the Jedi.
Good point.
Which I think is why people like it so much. Even when they kick the table.
My chair almost fell over.
The slapstick stuff doesn't work so well on audio format, Liz. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to do pratfalls. We can't see them.
Can you hear that? Eek, 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 eek.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. We get a new chair.
Keeping all of this, by the way.
Figured you would. Anything else you want to bring up about Empire?
I agree with Liz's previous statement. It's a good movie. You should watch it.
Yep, for sure.
I agree.
Yep.
I concur. All right. On that note, we are going to take a quick break and be back with Geek News for you. And we're back, and it's time for Geek News for you. In this segment, we bring a couple of news items to the table for a discussion. And this week, it is Liz and myself. And Liz, would you go first, please?
All right. My news article is about a new movie that's at the movie theaters right now, and that would be Minecraft. I'm kind of shocked, to be honest with you. Right now they're saying that it is the highest grossing premiere of the year, and it's the second biggest video game adaptation premiere of all time. It's coming in right under Super Mario Brothers, which was another Jack Black film. So maybe they ought to kind of take note of that.
Jack Black was in Super Mario Brothers?
Mm-hmm. No. Wasn't he? Yeah, he was. He was the Beaches, the Oompa Loompa guy, the dragon guy.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was. Yeah, he was the main bad guy.
I remember the Peaches. I remember you showing me the Peaches video, but that was for a minute. I thought that was for a little while. I thought that was separate from the movie entirely, but I remember the reason that he did it was because he was. I can't remember the name of the dinosaur guy. What the hell is his name? Bowser?
Bowser. I think you're right. I think it is Bowser.
No, Bowser was Sean Anna. Come on.
He's a totally different Bowser.
Oh, okay.
Good try, though.
Right. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised by this one. I have played Minecraft. I'm really into building games where I can build my own stuff. I mean, hell, I've made 3D meshes for 15 years now. So I really like the concept of that, but I never could get into Minecraft. It was just, I don't know, too blocky, too simplistic. I don't know. You know, I know with the virtual game I started out with, it was a prim, and everything was squared, and that's the only way you could build things. And we moved on into 3D meshes and stuff where you could get an actual shape. So I've done the square building too.
She's over here dissing the square as a shape.
Well, I mean, it's the basic building block, but I don't know. I guess I was dealing with more advanced things. Because a lot of people have told me that I need to take my stuff over into Minecraft, and it's like, I don't know how that would work, you know. Plus, I don't want to deal with that. But I guess more people were into this game than I was.
Oh, man.
Surprised.
Minecraft is huge. Yes, huge.
Yeah.
Well, when I worked for Microsoft, they had just bought Minecraft when I was headed out. So I know that Microsoft acquiring them probably did wonders for that game because they were able to put a little bit more into it, more server space, you know, but everything's still square. Yeah.
Well, that would be it. I mean, it became a brand thing at some point. I mean,
yeah.
It got to a point where you couldn't change that without basically taking Minecraft away from itself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it's kind of cool that it's still around. You know, a lot of times those kind of games, like you said, they kind of go to the wayside because it gets repetitive. And yes, building your own world can be repetitive. Yeah. But the way that they have adapted it to the big screen, they didn't try to take away that blockiness, which people found appealing. There's kind of a glitch in the game where the zombies that run around, and there's chickens that run around too. And every once in a while, a zombie will wind up riding or what looks like riding a chicken. So in the movie, they put the chicken jockey in, And from what I'm understanding, this is like totally nuts when this happens. All the kids go crazy. They're throwing popcorn in the theaters, pissing a lot of people off. But, I mean, how long has it been since you've actually heard of people getting that excited about a movie?
Right.
I mean, the only time I've ever experienced where the audience is that into a movie was when I was working with Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Right.
You know, most of the time you're quiet in your seat, you don't move, you don't mess with your phone, and you definitely pick up after yourself. I'm not saying it's right that they're trashing movie theaters, but it's kind of cool that they're excited about something. You know, yes, it takes a lot of time to clean up, but they're not really hurting anybody, you know? So I think kids have really pumped this, the figures to this movie. They're on track for, I think it's $551 million so far.
Dang.
It's beating out movies like Captain America. They just released a Christian movie called The King of Kings, and it's taken over that one. I mean, I think this is the second week it's out, and it's still at number 1. So,
Cool. Good for them.
yeah, like I said, I'm really surprised. I was trying to see if they mentioned in this article exactly how much money that Super Mario's made. But that when Super Mario Brothers came out, I wasn't surprised that it was a hit. They were kind of hitting in with the the new crowd, like Leanne, with just how cute everything was. But they also hit in on like my kids' age group because they grew up playing this game, and of course my age group because that was one of the first games you could play at home, you know. So I just didn't expect Minecraft to hit those same markers, you know. But apparently it is, so good for them.
Super Mario Brothers, 1.3 billion.
1.3 billion. Yep. That's a big number to beat.
It is.
But second week out, and they're already $500 million. You know, maybe so. I don't know if that's domestic market, but Thomas, weren't you saying something about the international market, and maybe we won't be seeing any numbers out of them because
I was saying that China is gonna deny.
Basically boycott Hollywood.
Basically boycott Hollywood with the current political and economical situation going on.
Yeah.
That's one of the things they're doing.
So I'm wondering week 2 if part of the figure that we're seeing is from them, but no more, or
I would assume that they have this movie over there.
Yeah.
But I think because they couldn't turn around that quickly.
Yeah. Because that only went into effect this week?
Yeah, I mean, it was announced sometime this past week, so.
Yeah.
So anything beyond this.
And if I was putting out a video game movie, that's the market I want to hit. They are like huge gamers over there, so.
Well, like I said during our break, you know, Hollywood for the last several years have been doing everything they can to make sure they can get all the money they can from China. I mean, they'll bend over backwards and make sure that there's nothing controversial in the films that would piss off
the censors,
the censors, the government, or the citizens of China.
Yeah.
They
It is a big market, though.
Mm-hmm.
I could see kind of side-swapping a little to, keep my nose in it. But yeah, like I said, I'm happy for one that it's a kids movie that's doing so well, and 2 that it's a video game movie that's doing so well. Hopefully they'll continue to strike success, but it seems like they're going for the games that do appeal to all ages. instead of like Grand Theft Auto, you know.
Oh, there would probably be one of those.
Wasn't that
At
Fast
some
and
point.
Furious?
No, Fast and Furious was way cleaner than GTA.
Okay.
I still like to see a Red Dead Redemption.
I bet that happens. And I have a prediction that it'll be Amazon that does it. So Steve, take that down.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon, I think people, when they think about the streaming wars, they count Amazon out a lot of times. They never really go, oh, Amazon's got some good originals. But Amazon has some good originals. They have really, you know, I think part of their deal is they trust their directors and let them kind of do your vision. And I mean, Fallout did really well over there. Invincible's done really well over there. What is the other one that I was watching over there?
Rings of Power has done
Yeah,
fairly
Rings
well.
of Power. Yep. So I think being Amazon, these directors, not only are they kind of allowed to express their vision a little better, they've got the money to do it. So, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I bet they take that one. And Amazon, the whole reason I brought that up, Amazon's actually talking about doing a God of War TV series.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of lore to play with there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the guy from Reacher, they're talking about having him play Kratos. It's like, damn.
That could be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Slap some makeup on and that's him, you know. So, yeah, like I said, I hope this opens the door to lots more, you know. And like I said, definitely we need some good kid stuff out there.
Yeah.
Okay. For my news item, we're all familiar with BFI, right? The British Film Institute.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
They have announced that the opening night of their film festival, which will be June 12th, they will be showing the original cut of Star Wars.
Hmm.
Haven't we heard of that one?
The film will be presented, quote, exactly as experienced by audience on its original release, screening from one of the precious handful of dye transfer IB Technicolor prints produced for the first British release, preserved by the BFI National Archive.
Huh.
Does Lucasfilm have anything to say about this?
I bet he sneaks in and edits it real quick, you know.
Well, I haven't seen anything yet, but that could be an issue, you know.
So they have it filmed on who really shot first.
They do.
Okay, nobody shot first. Han shot.
Right.
That's
Greedo
it.
never got a chance to pull the trigger in the original.
Nope.
So,
Well, didn't Lucas try to say they shot at the same time, or
Yeah.
well, that's what eventually happened.
yeah?
To try to soften Han's image. He thought that made him look bad. Like, saying that says the guy who basically implied that the star of the film killed a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Well, that was later. Hans worked him up to that, you know.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah,
I'd like to see the original again.
it would be nice. I know there's a lot of demand from the fans of seeing the original films as they were originally released.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucas was really big about that. And that, who knows, when he sold Lucasfilm, that could have been one of the conditions of the sale, is those never get released.
Yeah.
Or they're never available for sale, because, I mean, come on, this is Disney.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see.
Now, I remember when they re-released the first 3 Star Wars movies. And
Which time?
this was, probably 15 years ago. And it was interesting to see, because they did have some changes to it. So,
yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's still likable, and it's fun.
Some of the changes that he did, I don't really have problems with, and I probably should have mentioned this in our discussions earlier. One of the big ones I have an issue with is right at the end, with our heroes trying to escape, and you got this magnificent John Williams music that gets interrupted because George feels we need to have scenes of Vader getting into his shuttle, flying back to his Star Destroyer, and getting out of the shuttle. Why? Why did we need that? We kind of figured out that he got back to the ship because there he is. He's there. He was on Cloud City. Now he's on the Star Destroyer. We figured he got there. It didn't need to be. It did not need to be shown to us. And like I said, it killed the momentum. It killed the music score. It's just, oh my God, it pissed me off so much.
It's like he was trying to make Vader a more important character than he was.
I guess that's in what he's. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But on the plus side, what he did, adding windows to Cloud City so it's not so freaking claustrophobic, looks great.
Mm-hmm.
That looks awesome.
Or the fact that he had the scene of all the different ships leaving the port, and one of them was a ship that was featured in one of the books.
Oh, in A New Hope? Yeah. You talking about that scene in A New Hope?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
And yeah, one of them was the Outrider. Yep. From Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah.
Which hopefully we'll talk about that one day. The movie event that never had a movie, which was a kind of interesting experiment, but I don't know how successful it was. But so, all right, well, let's go on to our regular shout outs then. Want to thank Pop Goes the Culture for allowing us to be part of a great podcast network. Recommend that you check them out. We'll have a link in our show notes. We also want you to check out the fine men and women on Twitter who spread the word of the fellowship by retweeting our links. And they're known as the Podern Family. And the best way to check them out is to do a search, hashtag Podern Family, all one word, and just scroll through whatever catches your attention. By all means, download that episode. And I hope you have a good time checking them out. Want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying music to our podcast. In our show notes, there will be a link where you can check out some of their other fine music. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. If you have some feedback, we appreciate it. We would love to hear from you. Email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Or you can go to the website and go to the About Us page. There's a contact form you can fill out. I believe Discord was mentioned earlier. We do have a Discord, and it's open for anybody to join. We do have an open invitation on our homepage. Discord is free to sign up, and the apps are free in the App Store. We'll post a lot of news items, stuff for discussions, stuff to laugh at, trailers, and we'll have some activities on there as well. So come join us today if you're interested. Social media, we're on Facebook, the Fellowship of the Geeks. On Twitter, Instagram, and Bluesky. On Bluesky, we are at Fellowship Geeks. Feel free to follow us there. If you like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at LN_geek. Les may or may not be found at Fake Les Webster. And I can be found at Tom TC Geek. And from wherever you download and listen to our episodes, if you'd be so kind enough to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate you listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate the support as always. And until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,